Everyone, this is Serena, your Upland newbie, and today I'm going to take you on a property watch or a floor watch through neighborhoods and the collections. So we've been looking at them in Los Angeles to start, and then in some other videos I will check out other cities. But today we're just going to check out what the floor prices are in the collections in Los Angeles. Why this matters is because right now, if you check out the floor price, just UPX-wise first, you'll see it is at 8,900 and 14 UPX basically, and that's for everybody, like that's all. So if we go to only FSAs, we're looking at, well, if you look at people minting, so people who can get FSA properties and mint them right now, their floor is 5,350. So there's like a $3,000 gap there. So the reason I want to point that out is because when we start looking at the other properties for sale, you might think about, well, $3,000 gap, you might be able to go ahead and flip for a little bit, like $3,000 or less, but probably not, because people can still get some of the properties on the secondary market for that price. So it might be more competitive to spend more in collections, and we'll just see. So I'll show you what I mean. So if we check out East Hollywood and see what the floor price is right now, it's $33,495. With that said, if we see that tomorrow it stays around 33, and then we see it go up maybe to 34, but then suddenly we see one that's priced at 25, then we know, hey, that's probably a really good deal for East Hollywood and we should pick it up. So by watching the floor prices in these neighborhoods, you can decide, is it better to like go for those really cheap properties and buy a bunch of them and try to flip them and see if we can, if you compete, or if you can compete in a stiffer market with bigger returns. So like if you were to buy one for 25, if you ever caught one that low, then you could probably turn around and wait and get it for at least 8,000 more, like get 8,000 more out of it. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next place, which is Mulholland Drive. It's pretty expensive. We're just gonna go through UPX price right now, not the dollar prices. And you can see that to get into Mulholland Drive, there's a big gap between these two. So this one's going for 208, while this one's going for 241. So, and if you look, the rest of them are pretty much up there. So this one looks like a pretty good deal right now for Mulholland Drive. If I had 208 UPX, 950 basically, I would get that, but I don't, so I'm gonna have to move on. But this is why you watch the floor in the neighborhoods, and that's the kind of thing you're looking to spot. Those big gaps in the floor where it looks like you can turn around and flip it and adjust your price up to 240 as well. All right, let's check out Venice. So Venice has a 47,000. It's going up. Earlier in the day it was 46. And so if you see things slip below, especially anything in the 30s, definitely grab those for Venice, because those are definitely deals. Moving on, we're going to go to Ventura. And we see it's 83,000, goes to 84. So that's pretty close range, because this is 83.9, so it's pretty much 84. But if you see things drop in the 70s, then in the Ventura Boulevard area, you'll know, okay, that's something worth grabbing. Moving on. Oopsie, we're going to go to Bel Air. Pretty pricey in Bel Air. But look at this. See that gap between those? That's like a $20,000 gap. So that might be something worth grabbing for some people. So these are, kind of like the bargains when you see these happening, like people are trying to get their UPX for whatever reason. But if you can flip it for higher in that gap and make a bigger increase in your savings or your earnings, that's why it's kind of like worth it to invest in the game, rather than trying to like flip 5,000 to 8,000 and slowly make these small gains. Maybe. This is not financial advice, it's just my own opinion. So I just moved to Sepulveda, and look at this. We got 99 and then 99 basically 7, but then it hops up into the 104 range. Not a big difference, but if you see it drop into the 80s, maybe you think, oh great, that's where it's taking. And we're going to move on in our collections down to Los Feliz. And that's 28. So this is a cheaper collection area than the other ones we saw. It's cheaper than Venice. It's cheaper than I think all the other ones we've seen so far. So you might check out buying in this area. Moving on to Wilshire Boulevard. So pretty pricey, $239, but look at the gap, $291. So I wonder, we kept an eye on this. We can see if the $239 ever sells. And if so, if that one sells, if someone else comes along and just prices there on the same price and see if it stays there, or if this closer to the $291 actually is the floor. But you can see it does go up. People are they're pretty pricey. So that's Wilshire Boulevard. Echo Park. Another cheaper one. So 26, 250 UPX. And it's kind of in that range, 26, and then it goes to 28. So you can see the floor range around that 26K and up. And maybe you want to go there, but it isn't. You'll watch it and see how competitive it is, like how those prices change over the course. There's not really large gaps there. So I probably wouldn't go for Echo Park. Let's try Carroll, another expensive one. Yeah, so look at these prices. Your cheapest you see in Carroll is $1,784,998 UPX, basically, or 999 probably after that, because there's no cents. There's no cents. They don't do the decimal thing in the UPX range, so it rounded up. So that's kind of pricey. All right, moving on. Oh wait, actually, you know what I want to show you? Let's step back for a sec. Let's see what they minted for. So this person minted for 32. So let's just think of 32,000 as $32. That's basically the kind of the equivalent, right? So $32, and now they're selling it for basically would be like $1,700, almost $1,800 is what they're looking to get out of it after spending 32, and people go up from there. So that's what shows you the type of investment opportunities you can have in this game. All right, going on to University Park. We're looking at $1 million. Sorry, that's not $1 million. That's 100. So 104, 578 or 79 UPX there, and that's kind of pricier. It's got a pretty expensive floor. Not like $1 million, but it's expensive still. Franklin. Let's try Franklin. Ooh, even more expensive. Which is kind of interesting. It says Los Feliz because I think we saw that other property earlier that was in that same Los Feliz area, but it was really cheap. So Franklin Avenue specifically has its own value, and you can see it's very expensive. So 320. So check out, make sure you don't get confused between Los Feliz like floor and the Franklin Avenue. All right, so I'm going to Studio City. I am looking at Studio City because I was thinking about going there. It's not too expensive, but it's $20,000, and it's been around $20,000. I've seen it at this price for a little bit. I think I grabbed one when I saw it for $15,000, maybe. I think I did, but this has been kind of consistent, so it's not really having big gains, but it is still in the collections, and so getting 3 in Studio City might be worth the collections that you get from it. Manchester. So 73,000 range. That's pricey. It's above Venice. And a few of them are in Englewood Morningside Park. So Manchester Boulevard. That's, if you're interested, maybe watch out for one. If you see them going in the 60K range. Sherman Oaks. 13,000. That's super cheap compared to the other ones we've seen so far. So the Sherman Oaks one might be worth checking out if you want to get some more collections that are somewhat affordable. All right, Scenes of LA. Starts at $7,245,441 UPX. and goes up from there. People are getting pretty serious, but you can see what they meant it for. Some of these this is actually a pretty high mint price right here. A person paid $1,000 for 1,472,151 UPIX for that, just to mint it. All right, let's go to Brentwood. 51, not too bad. So it's not far from Venice. 51, but the prices are kind of like there, 52, 51. Maybe these are like a kind of like a lowered price, but I would wait for something in the 45K range before I purchase there. Looking at that. Sounds of LA. Sounds of LA. Ooh, pricey here too. Another 3 million one. That's on Pico. Now we're gonna go to Pacific Palisades. And we have 89,000 in Pacific Palisades. And it goes up from there. Ooh, it gets pretty pricey. So I definitely think Pacific Palisades is a great place to buy. I think the floor is going to increase. In fact, I want to note what I see it at today and just kind of keep an eye on that one. All right, moving on. Where are we at? We got Hollywood Lifestyle. Hollywood Lifestyle. Ooh, my goodness. Look at that. That's a large number. Okay, we're just going to move on. I'm not sure who's going to buy there yet. That watching my video. I think people are looking for the cheaper ones. 52,000. Okay, so this isn't a bad one to look at. If it goes into the 40s in Westwood, maybe grab it. Where are we at? The Gregarious Angelino. 9 million. Yeah. Okay. Windsor Square. Starts at 142 and then it hops up to 162. So there's a $20,000 or 20,000 UPIX gap there. Maybe check out Windsor Square because that 142 one, maybe that's a pretty nice one to take up. And Los Angeles, just Los Angeles. What is this going to give us? This is just the whole city. That's one of those regular collection. Let's go to Larchmont, I think that is. 78,000. Then it hops up to 83. So that's a nice little gap between those two. But is it a big enough gap to want to do it? I don't know. All right, we're going to move on. We're almost to the bottom of our collections list. Here's another 78,000 kind of range, near the 79 range. And then goes up from there to 82. And Hollywood. So Hollywood's at 81. So if you're going to go to 76,000, you probably should just go ahead and jump into Hollywood and go for the 81,000 properties. Because, you know, the Hollywood's Hollywood. So some other obscure place that people like Cheviot, maybe that's not us, or Cheviot, who knows what that is. Maybe they don't think that's something. So Hollywood Boulevard, I'll bet you it's millions. Let's see. Oh, it's not. Look, you can find yourself on Hollywood Boulevard for only 372,750 UPIX. I'm sure. I mean, I'll watch this floor, but I'm curious how this proceeds. Let's see if it gets into the 400,000 UPIX range and stays there anytime soon. Sunset Boulevard. So 152, and then it goes up to 157, 162. So if you catch them, I say in the $100 or 100,000 range, even the 130,000, maybe grab one of those. Melrose, that's our last one. Okay, so Melrose is in the 262 range. So if you see any Melrose in the 100K range, definitely consider grabbing those. All right, so this is how I think you might want to navigate your research, is checking out those collections in the floor and seeing when a grab still pops in there, and then, you know, take it when you can. I hope this helps. Happy hunting, everybody.